Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get into Thursday Night Football. Here we go in Week 12. We're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to give you guys some of the props that I do like, some of the best bets that I will have, as well as the main bet that we'll have within the side and the total. So we're going to break that all down for you guys in this divisional matchup, little rivalry game, and it's one where nobody would have expected the Browns coming into this game 2-8. And the Steelers would be the opposite, 8-2 entering this game. Usually we'll get this game and it'll be about that 6-4, 7-4, somewhere along 500, but a little bit more so where Pittsburgh has the advantage. Really impressed with what Russell Wilson's been able to do. I want to talk a little bit about that, but let's get down into the picks. If you haven't done so, make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe. It's very important. I appreciate you guys all tuning in and choosing me for getting you your breakdown before you guys place your wagers before this Thursday night game. Let's go into the outlier. We'll look at the initial numbers, and we're going to talk about it right now. As Pittsburgh, this number has moved quite a bit in terms of the side and the total. It's been hovering around 3, but when I say move, it's been bouncing back and forth between 3, 3.5. We do see this total getting some action, 42.5 bet down all the way now to 36.5. Now, the biggest storyline here going is the weather. What kind of weather report do we get? You have to kind of look at it at face value. This game will be played in Cleveland. It's coming off the lake. It depends, which way that's coming. It's pretty gnarly down there. If you can get a lapse in the meteorologist's judgment, we might get some good fortune there out of the weather. But if you want to look at the Browns Pittsburgh weather report, that's probably the best reason to if you want to wait on betting this game, or if you want to do the opposite and kind of gamble on the weather report. And that's kind of what I did. I took the under just knowing the stadium. I took the under a little earlier in the week. And now if you want it, you can get it at 7. So that's the number that I'm going to give out because I still like it at 37. That 7 is there. Some places are flashing the 6.5 within that total, but 37 is a fine number that I'm still okay with. I don't think Cleveland's going to put up many points. And when we talk about the Steelers here, they're going to play a style of football where against a Browns defense that does considerably better at home, stopping the run, as long as the Browns don't quit and just leave their pride at home, I think that this is one where we get a little smash mouth game, somewhere along the lines of maybe 20-17 at worst, 14-10. I mean, it's going to be a muck-it-up game in my opinion. So that's kind of where I stand with just playing out the game. But we are going to talk about some of the numbers here. You can see the majority of the money is on the under as well versus the betting splits versus the amount of bets. The handle, conversely, is on the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5. Anytime you favor the under, if you take points, it's usually going to go in your favor. But this is where if we want to see a little correlation within this game and total, I do like the Browns as well. Except just, I'm a Browns fan and it is the right side, but I can't get there. Okay. I can't get there. I just really worry about them going up against a Pittsburgh defense. We've seen this before. Mike Tomlin also on the road in Thursday night football games. I think he's not the best record in that, and I think that's a lot of times he ends up playing the Cleveland Browns in that spot. So just going off of that alone, this is a stay away game in terms of the side for me, but I want to share with you guys kind of what's going on in terms of the game, a little bit more so on this matchup, and we'll dive into the prop market right here. We're not going to talk about the abysmal Cleveland Browns statistics, but this is where we look at it, guys. It's something, the only thing really worth noting, okay, is the Browns on defense. Missing Jeremiah Kawusa Mora. That's a pivotal piece of that defense. Denzel Ward's always hurt. Trading away, Zadarius Smith. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. Seemingly looking like the white flag is being raised. Kind of heard Kevin Stefanski give a press conference, and it sounded like the wind was definitely taken out of his sails. And this is where you can't get caught sleepwalking against the Pittsburgh Steelers because they're going to smack you in the mouth. So for me, I don't really love Russell Wilson. He has changed that offense and added a dynamic that they are missing. But the biggest thing going for them right now is kind of just that mindset, right? And they can bring in Justin Fields. I do expect Justin Fields to get some action tonight if we do get that firm wind. But if you want to look at Russell Wilson in the red zone, though, the numbers aren't there. They don't tell the whole story. I quite frankly don't trust them. And Justin Fields, if you want to talk about kind of what he's able to bring to the table, I would definitely utilize Justin Fields a little bit closer to the red zone if I was Mike Tomlin. I know if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, the age-old mantra that's tried and true. But for me and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're kind of in this like, all right, screw it, we're 8-2 mode. Well, let's just get the, get the best team possible that we can close out the season with. And I think with that defense, there is no shame with running out Justin Fields once you get in the red zone, really varying that look. It's going to keep defenses off balance. And I, quite frankly, I just don't trust Russell there. You saw what he did. He threw that interception last game when they got down against Baltimore. He's going to cook, but he's still going to make mistakes in the red zone, and that's been kind of his identity. So for the Steelers, you got to tip your cap. A lot of people had Steelers win total under, okay? They're 8-2, 10 games into the season. So, you got to admit when you're wrong. That was one that I was not on, full disclosure. And quite frankly, the Browns, I think that was the opposite side of the spectrum. I think every sharp better out there was on the Browns season win total going under. So that's one that, obviously will cash, and we're not even going to worry about cashing that ticket. Okay. But let's look into it a little bit more so on the Pittsburgh side of the game. Really nothing crazy in terms of injuries. A couple linemen, James Daniels, Troy Fountainow, and Montravius Adams out. Anthony Averett and Zion Gilbert for the Steelers. Nothing in terms of skill players where you got to really worry about propositions in that regard, okay? And also, kind of a little side nugget, do you guys believe the traction for Nick Chubb getting dealt to Kansas City? Let me know down below in the comments, okay? But I want to get into the props. This is the first one we're going to be betting. You can see it right here on BetMGM, minus 165. I don't use underdog, so there you go. But if we want to look at Chris Boswell, all right, I know the wind's going to be a beast. It's going to be gnarly, but this has been a system play for me kind of in Steelers games. I love betting field goals, and against a Browns defense that can shut the door a little bit. We talk about Pittsburgh's inefficiencies in the red zone. This is a game where I'm going to go over 1.5 field goals. I really, quite frankly, don't care about the juice. It's just easy money, minus 146, or I'm sorry, minus 165. So if you can find this before it moves up to 2, they probably will move it to 2.5 plus money. That's something that I don't like as much, but if for all of you guys that like taking plus money bets, why not? Okay, we talk about kind of where he's attempted the field goals. Okay, and this is where he, it's something where you can't really kind of fault Chris Boswell. I mean, he doesn't miss. Okay, 6 for 6, 4 for 4, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Absolutely impressive. Okay, so this is where I look at it. You talk about Cleveland; they are third in field goals allowed, so only allowing 1.3 field goals per game. So couple that with the win, that may be a reason to stay away from this, but I'm going to bet it. I've seen too many field goals in these games, so I'm taking Chris Boswell over 1.5 field goals, okay? Next, I do want to talk about Jameis Winston a little bit. This is another prop that I do like. We're going to be taking the under 216.5 pass yards. I just don't see it with the wind. I don't see the attempts. I also do like the attempts. I'm leaning towards it. You look into his 3 starts, 41, 46, and 46 passing attempts. Now, these were all game scripts against Baltimore, which funny and shocking, but Cleveland was able to win that game, and it's kind of actually made me chuckle thinking Cleveland beat the Baltimore Ravens. I digress, but that was back, a couple weeks ago, and then going against the Chargers, losing 27-10. This is more of kind of the style of football that I suggest within the likes of the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game. However, I do think the Chargers, they run at a snail's pace, but I think that the Steelers are not going to be able to be as efficient as Justin Herbert was. So I do look for this to kind of be the game script tonight. All right, very similar game. I'm looking maybe at worse. We're talking 24-10, but I think we get this one done to the under. That's going to be my favorite bet. It's getting a little bit too public for me, but and that's why the number has dropped. But as long as the weather's there, this is a under and possibly even a live game opportunity where we just keep taking unders. If the wind's really bad, every time they punt, I just keep adding a little bit to the under. That's a strategy that I've I've done and kind of mastered for these primetime games where there's only one game on the TV, okay? And then you see I had 46 passing attempts against the Saints in a comeback script in a dome, okay? So that's kind of where I lean into the the Jameis Winston, okay, yardage, and I probably would go pass attempts under. I don't love that one as much, so I put it on my board. That is a lean, okay, but when we talk about the passing yards, I'm trying to find this right here. Pass yards, there we go. This is where we're going to be betting, okay? He's went over this in terms of the over. However, we talk about this. I think we get a little bit of a kind of sneaky play here on the under. The wind is going to be howling. Also, we talk about Jameis Winston. You can look at some of the actually, prolific passers that Pittsburgh's defense has went against. They really do handle opposing quarterbacks to throwing the football. A lot of that comes from the pressure they get from within, and I do think that this, coupled with the weather, it's going to lend towards the narrative that both teams are going to run the shit out of the football. So that's kind of where I'm at. Cleveland, we talk about Pittsburgh's passing yards. It's middle of the pack. They're averaging 214.5. This is kind of where you could possibly fade me on this one too, because Jameis has really gotten over that total, but very similar to this 235 game script against the Chargers. That's a very good data point. I just think Pittsburgh's defense is a little bit better, so we're going to go under in a lot of metrics as well, and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't love the passing attempts going under 34.5, but I do like Jameis going under 216.5, so that's probably where my best money would be spent. Okay, Najee Harris, I just wanted to touch on this, okay, because when I looked at this game at face value, okay, the first thing I thought of is, okay, let's look at running back carries. Now, Nick Chubb, I'm going to stay away from that because of I just quite frankly didn't like his workload ratio last week. They said they held him out of practice, or they held him out a little bit of a couple series because of the short week. So they're kind of still babying him a little bit when it comes down to it. Nick Chubb, and then that rumor going to Kansas City, whether or not that be this year or in the offseason, that's still yet to be determined. But I looked into his rushing attempts. I don't love it. I'm just being honest with you guys. Both of these teams, they have a workload share in the backfield. And Najee Harris there, if you want to, first thing I want to do is go bet over. 17.5 is his carries. Now, this is kind of right there on the number. You can see in his last 4 spots going against the Jets, Giants, Washington, and Baltimore. Okay, you can see we had 21-19, 21-18 respectively. Okay, so I can make the argument that they just try to pound the rock. It's too windy. You want to go over 17.5, but I also think that also lends to a shorter clock. Not a lot of play count, so the play count will be down. You won't get a lot of the possessions will be down. So you don't want to really get into that situation where we're just kind of grinding out the clock and hoping that they punt again so he gets 1 or 2 more carries to end the game. I think they have the number right where it needs to be. Jaylen Warren, I'm suspecting, has a target share or a workload share as well. So I know this is hit at 80%. It's a lean going over. If you had to force me bet this game, this is one of the bets I like, but I'm staying away from it. I don't really quite like the props. I don't like the side. If anything, I just told you guys the Winston under pass yards, the Boswell over the field goals, and we are going to finish that up with the under 37 as my best bet for this game in tonight's contest. Okay, so here we go, guys. These are my final plays. If you haven't done so, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Head on over to the Discord. Join us there. Totally free platform. Follow me on X, all that good stuff. But I appreciate you guys watching, and this is where I'll leave you. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all tomorrow in the next video. Cheers.